Hi, everybody. So here we are for our Mending and Blending blog and videos. And so we just celebrated our 4-year anniversary on the 10th. But we got to actually celebrate a few days later.
Yeah.
So that's been nice. But what I wanted to do is give you guys more of a background story about how we got to where we are today. So, I really enjoy writing, so I have written a blog that will accompany.
Because she's way better at writing. Like, if you see anything on our blog or social media that is written, more than likely, even if it says it's from me, I dictate it because she's way better at writing. So,
Anyway,
yeah.
So I've written my thoughts down from the point of my separation and divorce to dating and to getting married.
How awesome dating is.
Very, very concise though. It's the Cliff's Notes version of our story, but it's written in my perspective because I like to write. So what we wanted to do is have a complimentary video since Brian prefers to talk.
Yes.
And that way he can give you his side of the story. Then you can read my side and put together pieces and see what you think from there. But again, the whole purpose of our heart behind Mending and Blending is to make sure that we are giving glory to God for what he brought together out of brokenness, and that God restores, and that we all face dark times, but to not give up because God is holding you in his hand, and he's shown that to us in both of our lives.
And we continues to.
For sure.
Yeah.
And we also want to make sure we're never glorifying divorce.
No.
We are not people who would advocate for divorce unless there's abuse or biblical reasons, or, there are situations where we would be like, yeah, get out for sure.
Right.
But we are not things look better on that side of the fence, so leave what you have to go take that on.
Yeah, we are much more, our heart's desire is much more to, is that right? Our heart's desire is to help people realize how hard it is through our story, so that you don't have to experience those same things, because again, it's a rough road, and we're just very thankful to have been blessed with each other through something bad, that we were able to attain something phenomenal for us through staying true to God's word, through staying true to what we were called to do.
Right. Because we know that divorce is really easy in our culture, super easy in our culture, and there are people that are divorced for a myriad of reasons, and God's desire is for there to be reconciliation, and God's desire for marriage is for it to be marriage from beginning to end. And we each played a part in things that went wrong in our first marriages.
Absolutely.
And we have owned those. We've confessed those sins to our former spouses and to our children and to each other, and gotten help and all that. But when reconciliation wasn't what the other party had in mind, then we each went through at different times time of separation.
Right.
And during the separation and divorce time, we both, again separately, we didn't even know each other. Well, I didn't know him when he was going through his, went through counseling and support groups and biblical guidance to walk us through that time to get allow healing and to really understand who God had made each of us to be individually. So anyway, and that's a long segue, but truly we don't take divorce lightly. And one of the big things that has been brought to our attention is throughout the last 4 years, when people who have not been through divorce have people who come to him who are experiencing separation or divorce, they always point them to us. And we love that. Yeah. We want to be people that to love others that are going through hard times because we've walked it as well.
Right.
But we don't want people who are in a time of separation or questions or doubt to look at us and say, oh, they have it all together.
Yeah, we don't.
And it's so perfect.
Right.
If I was just with someone else, I would have that, because that is not accurate.
No, not at all.
We are 100% individually reconciled to God and individually restored by God.
Right.
And our marriage is a story of redemption and love that mirrors God's gospel.
Yeah.
So So, to get that started, can you give a quick summary as to...
A quick summary,
Emphasis on quick.
Quick, okay.
Summary as to your, not really details of your divorce or anything like that, but your span of time, like how long you were married,
Sure.
how long, how you went through the separation and divorce process.
Yeah. So in my previous marriage, I was married for, I think it was 11 years. We were together for 16 years because we had dated and been engaged for 5 years prior. So...
You were engaged for 5 years?
I'm sorry. We were together for 5 years, engaged for a year.
Okay, because I was about to say, what?
Explains a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But we were together for a span of 16 years. So when everything happened, I chose, I chose for myself, but also through the counseling and things that I was receiving during that time, to basically, for that whole year, I just kept to myself. I was in counseling. Dating and another person was the furthest thing from my mind. So I took a full year, after everything, before I even thought about dating. I was actually divorced for how long before we met?
I don't do math. Again, I don't do math.
4 or 5 years.
I do words.
And during that process, I did date. Footnote, dating when you're older stinks. It's...
With kids,
holy cow, it is so much more... You think it's hard going on a date when you're a teenager? Wait until you're having to sit down and your first date is almost like a business meeting, because you're older and you're like, hey, what are your interests? What are you looking for in the future? Because I don't want to waste my time. And that's I mean,
that's efficient.
Yeah. So, I did date before I met Amber. Obviously, none of those worked out. And, yeah, I won. So, yeah, you said keep this short, right? That's not happening. I'm so sorry. But anyways, so again, through the initial process, I just wanted to make sure that I was focused, that I was not just running out and trying to date to fill an emptiness, because I knew a person couldn't fill that. So I tried really hard just to take time. I really invested in volunteering at church. I really invested in my friendships and things like that. And, that just felt like where I needed to be.
Yeah,
so when I met Amber, it was really funny. We were both volunteering. Actually, she was on staff at a church, and I was a high-capacity volunteer.
At a church that had campuses.
Yes,
because I was on
multi-campuses.
Staff at a little campus.
Yes.
You were at the mothership.
Yeah, the mothership. So
that's not bad, right?
No, that's not bad at all.
Okay.
If you ask us. So through the process, I actually knew Amber's husband at the time. We were in a small group, men's group together, and this may sound weird, but when we first met, I was actually praying with her for reconciliation with her husband. And I know that sounds weird, because pretty much everybody I've said that to said, what? And hear my heart. Amber's beautiful, and I love her, and I'm very thankful and fortunate to have her. But when we met, it was not a, hey, how's it going? So I hear you're single now. It was more of, I know that you're married. I know that, because I had gone through it, how hurtful and how hard it is. Can I pray with you? And, truly our relationship was platonic for well over a year, because during that process, I'm praying with her. I was mediating a small group.
Praying with me via online Bible study.
Not in person.
Not in person, not on the phone.
Nope.
It was in an online Bible study
Correct.
format.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
So, because our
or
heart...
on your own without me at all.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Because our heart through this whole process was to honor God. We knew that where we had been and where we wanted to be, we wanted to keep him at the forefront.
Do it right.
Right. So during that whole process, like I said, we were praying together for the reconciliation, and they were in counseling, and our relationship, we really didn't begin a romantic relationship for quite a while.
Yeah.
And that was even, how would you say it? That was even very monitored.
I had a posse.
Yes, there were many, which is awesome. And that's another thing to really remember is, should you be in this situation, make sure you're leaning on godly counsel, because that's what both of us were doing. And that is why when I say we were monitored, I don't mean people followed us around. But, people were checking in with us.
And accountability.
And holding us both accountable, saying, here's what you guys have been through. We don't want that for you again. So we really want to make sure that you're honoring God and following what, you're called to do.
Yeah.
And so even though it was hard taking criticism and taking, well, not really criticism, but taking direction.
Hard for you.
It was hard for me. I'm a control freak. I'll admit that. You'll see more of this as we go further. But it was just nice to have people that love us, that were there to be with us through this, because again, it was tough. So, when we started dating, it was more of kid dating. That sounds horrible. Wow.
Dating with kids.
With kids.
Family dating.
Because honestly, how we ended up going out would be because of our kids.
For sure. Hannah and Cecily.
Right. So Cecily and Hannah met each other at VBS. I'm sorry. Hold on.
Children's worship.
Correct. So, rewind just a little bit.
Make this part snappy, baby.
I know. I'm trying. So, when the church we were attending started a new campus, their first one, I went to that campus on Sundays to help set up, to help run tech, to help do everything volunteers and stuff would do.
Right.
She was on staff at that campus.
Right.
So, our kids met during children's worship and struck up a friendship. So when everything, for about 2 months, 3 months, when everything kind of fell into place, I went back to the main campus, and that's where I stayed. She was on staff at the new campus. That's where she stayed. So really, we didn't see each other at that point on Sundays.
No, I didn't know who you were. So
and then you didn't know who I was, so whatever.
I know, I was married. So.
Like you really didn't know who I was?
I really didn't.
Oh, whatever. So anyways, when we went back to the main campus, VBS came up, I think, the following year. Well, it did come up the next year because it always follows the next year. And so it was kind of like that. When you watch these old movies, you've got two people that see each other from far away. And it's like, oh, they start running toward. Slow motion. That was Cecily and Hannah.
Yeah.
They had really struck up a friendship during children's worship, and then they happened to see each other at VBS, and here they go. Oh, so they're, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're here, and I can't believe you're here. So that ended up striking up a friendship with them, to where Cecily would say, hey, we're at the apartment. Do you want to come swimming? Do you want to come over to the movie room? And of course, me looking for an opportunity to ditch my kid.
I was about to say, to go to football games. Tell the truth.
I know, it's guilty. So anyways, we'll talk about sports and stuff later. I like a lot of sports, as you can see. So anyways, Hannah would spend the night. I would literally pull up. And she would get out, and I would watch her go up and go in, and then I would leave. Because, again, we were trying to make sure, especially for our kids.
Yeah.
We want to honor God first and foremost, but it's super important to us that our kids, who have already gone through pretty much the most traumatic thing you can do in life, we just didn't want to put them through that anymore.
Right.
So that led to multiple sleepovers, multiple pool parties, multiple everything.
Yeah.
Like they were attached at the hip almost.
Yeah. Well, and we had a pool. So.
Right. What kid wouldn't want to go to a pool in the summer? So that ended up leading to, hey, can Dad stay for dinner one night? Hey, can Dad do this? And so we're both, seriously, we didn't know what to do. It was funny because our kids are asking us stuff, and we're both sitting there doe-eyed like,
I don't know.
Where's the rule book? What do we, what? Am I
So I'd
allowed to be
call
somewhere?
some friends if we did the movie room, like, hey, you want to come over and watch a movie with all of us in the movie room?
So we made sure
Or I
that
would get extra kids, borrow extra kids.
yeah.
There's a lot of accountability when there are a lot of kids around.
Right. And to be clear, this was post-divorce.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to make sure the timelines are all...
Post-separation, remember the divorce got put off 1,000 times.
Yes. So anyways, again, we're just wanting to make sure that the storylines match up.
Well, yeah.
So yeah,
I
that
don't
was...
think there's going to be a quiz.
Never know.
I do know, because you wouldn't write it.
That's true. Not we're us going to take a quiz. No, I thought you meant somebody else quizzes. Okay. I don't like tests. Anyways, sorry, honing in.
So fast forward to the part what you told me when we started talking, that you said you were done dating.
I had literally not 3 weeks before I met Amber. One of my friends needed a ride home, and I said, "Sure, come on." So we're riding down the road. And he had asked me, so I know you're not dating now. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I said, truly, I'm done. I've tried it, twice, and it's just not working. Maybe I'm meant to be single. And if I remember saying, God, if you've got somebody for me, that's awesome. I'm not going to fight you. I'm just not going to look for them. So if you're going to put them in my life, I'm leaving it up to you because I'm done. Mm-hmm. And 3 weeks later, I met Amber.
However, I would say that even though we were dating, when we started dating, I was not assured that we were going to ever be anything but dating, because I just couldn't tell. He was really hard to read and not very open. And so, there were other people interested in me. And so I would, talk to these other people. I didn't date them, go out with them, but I would talk to them and stuff because, I don't know what the deal is here. I mean, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah,
do you know
fair.
what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
And so there was a time when Brian had the opportunity to go to Kenya on a mission trip, and I really wanted to go. But this was not the season of life for me to go. I really needed to be with my kids. Yeah. And so I took it upon myself to be one of his secret fundraisers.
Yeah. So hold on.
For Kenya.
Since you brought it up, yeah, may have been
what
you were flat out shady.
But for good intentions. Good intentions.
So I would get random donations, and I'm thinking, man, the Lord is providing.
He was providing.
He was, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I was just the vessel.
Just the vessel. It was just crazy because, again, she helped me get to Kenya. I'll leave it at that.
What changed when you went to Kenya? Because I think it was twofold.
I think
it was both of us,
Yeah. When I went to Kenya, it was really weird because I got over there and, talking about Kenya could be a whole post within itself. But I just remember I'm over there and I'm looking at all these things that I've only seen in books. I've only heard about. We were ministering to an area that didn't have water, and we were able to provide it at that time. So it was just really emotional. But I just noticed I kept thinking about this person that I couldn't figure out why. I mean, I know that sounds bad. Oh. Hey, that gets you right there, doesn't it?
So
but no, I remember I was just going, I wanted to share it with you, and I wanted to be able to tell you about it. And I kept going, well, I'm not supposed to be doing this. I'm done. This is, I just, I'm not at that place. But I was, because I'm wanting to call her from Kenya. And I did a couple times.
A couple?
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Every day.
Well, yeah.
Except for your actual travel days.
Right. Well, those were sketchy. So,
well, I know, but I'm just saying, you called every day.
So, it was just cool because there was this person I just kept thinking about, and I'm going, I didn't know. I knew how do you say it? It's like I was interested in her, or I wouldn't been spending time with her. But I didn't know that I had gotten to that point. You know what I mean? It's like when you get to a point that you really you start caring about somebody, and it surprises you because you were just done, and you had basically, looked at the Lord and said, I'm done. I don't want to. And I remember, again, like I said a minute ago, I just told him, if you're going to send me somebody, I'm going to leave it up to you. And he did. And it was just weird because I know what I'd asked for. And when I got it, it just kind of caught me off guard because things had been so hard up to that point.
Yeah.
So, like she was just saying, that's when we both kind of realized, wow, you know, I really care what this person is doing, where they are, if they're okay, what they're thinking about, and all this stuff. So, yeah, that was, so it took what, like 2,700 miles to make us realize that? Or going to the other side of the earth.
For sure.
But, yeah, so that was cool.
Yeah. Okay. So that would be like the turning point for when we were like, okay, we're going to be for real. Yeah. So Brian, in all his wisdom, suggested not just premarital counseling, let's have pre-marital counseling, because I couldn't get enough counseling. At this point, I was already in a divorce care group because I had to be, which is the worst because I hate support groups. Yay for the mission, yay for the plan. But when I'm in a group of people and we're sharing our stories, my face shows what I'm thinking, and I'm not good at hiding it.
Works good to my benefit, though.
It's terrible. So people would say stuff, and I'd be like, what? And I got in trouble a couple times for my facial expressions. I know, in my support group. So anyway, that wasn't my happy place. But I was in one-on-one counseling. The kiddos were in counseling. And I liked counseling. I think our counselor was like a savior, truly.
Yeah, he was awesome.
But then this guy's like, not engaged, not talking about marriage yet. But before we talk about marriage, let's go to premarital counseling. So that was my world. It was like an inquisition from the get. Without any promise of this is going or what if I'm sitting here giving all of my intimate fears and my insecurities, and then you're like, change my mind. Well, now no, but at the time I didn't.
I get that.
Right, and so then.
So go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, and then it goes from that into like we're going to get married, but it's a business plan. It's not romantic because it came down to, okay, when does the lease run out? On my apartment.
Right.
When does it make sense to pick up insurance? And it became like
when it's open,
working logistics and getting legally married for those, and like
which is sad
for sure. But we're also not romantic people.
We're not.
We're just not, and we're okay with it.
Yeah.
But we were happy with like going to a courthouse or going to Disney World or whatever, and getting married.
The act of getting married legally.
Our kids were so involved, and they wanted that so bad, and I think our parents did too. Yeah. To get to be a part of a ceremony.
And I'll throw some pictures in while we're talking so you can see what we're talking about.
Yeah, so we did end up having a wedding, but I just wanted to give like a little blip
and
that it wasn't
awesome.
like roses and
there we were.
Let's get married.
Yeah. It's not like a Jagged Edge song.
Who's Jagged Edge?
Let's get married. You know, that one that you love so much.
Is it one of your R&B things?
It is one of my 90s songs.
I like maybe 90s, early 2000s, but not R&B. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Go back to, how about when you decided to propose? That's a good one.
Yeah, that was...
You did a good job.
Well, thank you.
For someone who's not romantic.
I'm not. I'm typically not. And it's sad
You're
for
thoughtful.
her. I try to be. I try to be. Sometimes it works great.
But we're not mushy people. I don't think I would respond well to mushiness. No,
you're not. You're not a big.
What do you want?
Like she really doesn't like flowers. She likes flowers, but I think we're both of, okay, so flowers are what, 20, 30, 40 bucks.
Where are you getting your flowers?
Well,
go to the grocery store. They're like $5 to $8.
Well, what I'm saying is, I love you. So what I think she would prefer is I take that money and say, hey, let's go watch Toy Story 4 today. Yeah. Or let's go do something else. We're more experiential people than we are stuff people, which worked out good because we're both that way. What was I talking about?
When you proposed.
When I proposed, right. Sorry. So when I proposed, obviously I call up her dad and we set up the Inquisition, which was awesome. From a male standpoint, it was really cool for me because I can understand that. If somebody's interested in one of my daughters, we're going to be talking. And so from the dad viewpoint, I was like, this is pretty cool because obviously he loves his daughter. Obviously he wants what's best for her. Flip side of that, Dave walks in with like 3 sheets of paper.
Oh, yeah.
With all these questions. Yeah. So.
And I think my mom contributed to the questions.
No, not Donna. She is an angel.
She is an angel.
Right. Love you, Donna. So, we go through all that, and it was awesome. He gave me permission. And so when you're at the stage of life we're at, and it involves kids, you have to be careful how much information you share, especially when some of your children are more enthusiastic.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You think so?
I understand what you're saying now. Yeah. I didn't know where you were going.
Right. So...
But you're talking about keeping things a surprise.
Correct. I did want it to be as much of a surprise as we could.
Yeah.
So I didn't tell any of our kids until the day of. So I had arranged for some of our friends to keep the kids while we went out. The big secret. So what was really cool is when when they came to pick up the kids, I said, "Oh, you finished getting ready. I'll take them down to the car. That way you don't have to say bye and all that, So I take them. It was Cecily and Titus, by the way. Hannah was, I think, at Mom's. It doesn't matter. She wasn't there. So I'm walking them down to the car, and I said, "Hold on just a minute. I need to tell you guys something." And I was hoping I was far enough away from the apartment because the first thing it is, I took Cecily's phone away. And for obvious reasons.
For sure.
Yeah. And I said, here's the deal. I'm going to propose to your mom tonight. And she got super excited, which was good for me because, hey, she likes me.
If you need a dose of excitement, go to Cecily's Corner.
Yes.
Because you'll get lots of her excitement and
there
joy.
You go to YouTube.
And it's contagious.
Look up Cecily's Corner.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She has a really cool channel.
Yes.
So anyways, we'll talk about our kids more later. So we go up. I take her up on the Parkway, which if you're from the Asheville area, the Parkway is beautiful views, all this stuff. Well, the reason I took her up there is one of our official first dates was up near the base of Mount Pisgah because we had gone to the Biltmore Estate that day.
That was our first date.
Right,
yeah,
our first official date.
We went there first.
Right, so we'd gone to the Biltmore Estate to Cedric's for lunch. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, we went up on the Parkway where I'm talking about. Well, there's a small overpass, or what would you call it, like an overlook, where there used to be a lodge that the...
Yeah, they're like hunting lodge or whatever.
Right, like Biltmore Estate had it up there.
The Vanderbilts.
Yes, as such. So we go up there, and we're just hanging out. I mean, it was just really pretty. It was a good day. So back to the proposal. So I thought, hey, I'll take her up here, and this really just shows... our life is how it was perfect that this is how it started. So we get up there and we go over to where this lodge used to be because again that's where we sat. We really sat up there on our first date and we just talked. We talked for it seemed like hours, just about what we wanted out of life. What because again, not that we're old, like old, but at the same time,
young.
Right. We wanted to talk and, what do you want in a relationship? What do you want in a family? What do you want travel-wise? What do you want, all these things. So when we got up there were people everywhere because it's the Parkway in May.
It is May, right.
So, because it's beautiful. Who wouldn't want to go up there? So we get up there and I'm going, I'm not doing this in front of 40 people.
Wisdom.
One, she could say no. Hey, let's just be honest here. It was saving face on my part. Because I'm like, hey, will you marry me? No.
Nah.
Cool. So anyways, at this point, I'm really scrambling because we have 20 to 30 people waiting for us at our friend's house to celebrate. So it's not that we're really on a timetable, but I don't want to drag my feet any more than I have to.
Right. And it's a drive to get up to Pisgah.
Right.
So.
We were a good 30, 45 minutes from our friend's house.
Right.
So I'm thinking we'll walk around for a minute and then we'll walk back up here and see what happens. So we start walking away from the area I was thinking it's this real pretty overlook. Matter of fact, one of our friends got married there last year. And so we start walking down. As I'm walking, I see this really cool looking staircase built out of rocks, and I'm only assuming that was part of the lodge or whatever, where they pulled. It doesn't matter. So we walk down there, and when we get to the bottom of it, there's this really pretty view. You can see Mount Pisgah, and there's just this giant, wildflowers, like a field almost. And I'm going, hey, this will work, because there's nobody down here.
Nobody.
Because it's pretty isolated. So anyways, that's where I proposed. As you can see, she said yes.
I did.
So that was awesome.
Right.
I didn't get on a knee. A lot of people give me grief for that. But that, again, we're not...
People give you grief for that?
Yeah, they're like, why didn't you get on a knee? I'm like, well, it didn't seem like the right thing to do at that moment.
And then I would have to help you get up.
Right. I have bad knees. So...
they don't know.
Right.
Let it roll.
Well, I'm cool with it. Hey, you said yes. That's all that matters. So, that was how we did that. So we got, obviously after we got engaged, we drove to our friend's house. The kids were there. It was just really awesome. So again, having kids changes the dynamic.
Sure.
Again, which is why it's not the way God designed marriage to work. But yeah, that's the engagement. That was and it was cool. It was a great day.
Yeah, it was a great day.
Yeah,
sweet memories for sure. So fast forward, that was in May. We got married in July. Like I said, we had already kind of had the wedding plans because I had to get out of an apartment. I mean, it was just a bunch of business. So we had like the logistics, but it still was a very sweet gesture, and it meant a lot to me.
We wanted
in
to do
that
things
way, right? And so when we got married in 2 months, and we'll talk about that more on another day.
That's another one, because we know this one's going long now.
And we have great people that we would want to acknowledge for sure in that.
Absolutely.
So, but we did get married in July, and
the 10th, which if you're watching, well, it doesn't matter, because whenever you watch it, we got married on July 10th.
We did.
2015.
Yes, sir.
It's been 4 years.
Yes, sir. So that was a great day. Yeah. We'll share about that.
That's
maybe next time we'll share about that one. Yeah. But anyway, we just wanted you to have a little bit of our background and also why we chose Mending and Blending kind of as our tag is because
that's our
healing. It's part of us is healing, more not just healing as a person, but healing as who God made us to be individually, and from that blending together a family.
And that is, I'm sorry.
And that's the, that's our heart's desire, because we live in a blended family lifestyle. Means there are co-parenting issues. Means there are just being parent issues, step-parent problems, grandparents that you've had from the get-go or that are new, aunts and uncles, like just merging a family. It causes a lot of shifts in dynamics. And some things I feel like our family's done really well, and some things we've had to learn
in the process.
And so that's what we want to share, is so that people who have been through separation, divorce, people who are facing it, that that you're not alone, that you're not a mistake, that you have value, that you have worth. There is nothing that you have done or been through that's too big for God to forgive, for God to restore. And we've messed up 100 billion times in the process of our separations and of our divorces, and we still mess up every day. Like, we're just messed up people. But when we refocus our hearts and our minds, and when we reprioritize our lives the correct way, the way the Bible spells it out, and the way the gospel is written, when we line our lives up with that, the blessings are crazy. And our we say our biggest blessing is our family, is our blended family. So we hope that this encourages you.
If nothing else, it's entertaining.
Sure. We hope it makes you smile. So if you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them. We don't mind to answer.
No.
I will say that we won't deal with anything negative. So if you are tempted to put something negative or snarky or whatever, it'll just get deleted. We probably won't even give it a second glance, because we want everyone who sees us to be encouraged and to be pointed to Jesus. We know we've messed up. We know we've hurt people.
Absolutely.
We know we haven't handled every situation perfectly.
Yeah.
We know this,
Yeah.
but we also know that the Bible says we've all sinned. We're all sinners.
Yep.
And so we're doing what we can to help other people. And, so that's my only disclaimer, because I don't do we don't do negativity on the social media world.
Yeah, it's just...
There's not a reason.
It's just too much work. I mean, truly.
Too old.
And it's,
Too old for that.
So we would love to hear from you. We would love to hear... we try to be an open book.
For sure.
There are some things we won't talk about because they're personal. But at the same time, if you've got questions, if you've got suggestions, if you've got things that we are not counselors, we do not claim to be, but we just love loving on people.
For sure.
And because
I agree.
I think going through something like this has taught us how much, one, we needed the Lord, but two, we needed to have people in our life that was there for us, to love on us, to point us to Jesus, to give us the support we needed to I don't want to say make it, but to
survive,
not in the do or die,
up.
But because it's hard, because it's very hard,
and not to be tempted and pulled away by things that looked easier.
Right. So all that to say, leave comments below. We will answer them as we can. Leave topics, leave questions, leave all those kind of things, and we definitely look forward to more posts and more of our adventures. Some of them are going to be more serious than others because we're learning how to do this as we go. So we're glad that you've taken the time to watch this much longer video than we had planned, and hopefully the next one will probably be just about as long, more than likely.
Oh boy.
So anyways,
okay.
Hope you guys have a great week, and we will see you next time.
Bye.